Year-end clearance. Good morning. Start of another day, end of another year. And, this time of year, it's always typical. Find yourself reminiscing, find yourself looking ahead, and what have you. Alexa, volume 2. And, I'm no different than, well, I am different than a lot of people. And so are you. You're different from a lot of people as well. But anyway, I'm similar to a lot of people in that I do tend to do that. I tend to, use this time to look back and also look forward. And I also find myself twice a year kind of pontificating. There's your 50-cent word for the day. Pontificating time, if you will, time. And without getting too philosophical, I've always kind of I've always kind of looked at New Year's and birthdays as being interesting, in that they're measurements of time insofar as our existence within this realm of life. From the time you're born to the time you die, and birthdays and New Year's are but a measurement of time within this realm of existence. But when you truly believe in God, and you believe in a hereafter, then time takes on time takes on a whole different meaning. Because then you start thinking of time, and well, you don't think of time. It's eternal life. And so that's I try not to get caught up in the whole birthday thing, the whole growing old thing, the whole New Year's resolution and what have you. But it's hard not to, because you live in a society that is that is controlled by time. But nonetheless, anyway, a lot of thoughts going through my mind. I actually I was lying around in bed this morning, and I typed into YouTube. YouTube is great, isn't it? I typed into YouTube the history of time, or something like that, or the history of the calendar, and what have you, and how did it come that. And I found some woman giving an hour-long lecture, of which I watched about 5 minutes. But and as far as watching that, one thing I learned that I didn't know is that the word month is derived from the word moon, which is something that I didn't know. But anyway, so the talk went on to discuss people's observance of time from the earliest, where you had day and night, and then you had different measurements of time, like the moon cycle, and then the sundial, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's always interesting. And more times than not, New Year's just maybe it's part of getting old. I asked Skip Smith up in the Villages, what happens up on New Year's Eve. I was going to drive up there, and I was kind of curious to know what happens in the Villages on New Year's Eve. And he said, everybody goes out for their early bird dinner at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're in their pajamas by 6, and they're in bed by 7 up in the Villages. So there's not much, even if it's New Year's Eve, they're all in bed, by 7 o'clock up there in the Villages. But so there's not much going on up there. But anyway, so New Year's Eve will probably be for me rather uneventful. It'll probably be spent. Well, I'll probably be asleep by the time the bell tolls 12. And speaking of the time, the bell tolling 12, last night I just tossed and turned. so much different things on my mind last night. It was, I don't. I lost a. I found out that a gentleman, and I use that in every sense of the word, Bill Wattenberg. I mean, those of you that might want to Google that, Bill Wattenberg, Wattenberg, Bill Wattenberg. What a boy! That guy was a huge part of my life for years. A huge part of my life in that he used to have a radio talk show. He used to have a radio talk show on a station out of San Francisco called KGO. And he would come on Saturday and Sunday nights. And boy, I would listen to him like clockwork. He'd usually come on at about 10 and he'd be on till 1. And I'd sit out in the garden oftentimes. Well, I'd sit wherever I was. It wouldn't matter. At times I'd be sitting in the garden. Other times I'd be sitting at the ocean. Or other times I'd be lying in my bed listening to Bill Wattenberg. And last night I, for whatever reason, thought to search him on YouTube, and found out that he passed away in August of this year of a cancer with battle, or cancer a battle with cancer. But anyway, so that was one of the things that was keeping me tossing and turning last night. And the lovely lady Sylvania over in Portugal, she keeps tugging she keeps tugging at my heartstrings, and I say that in a sense that she is a some people you can they say that the eyes are the countenance of the soul. The eyes are the face of the soul. And oftentimes you look at people, or interact with people, and you just know that they're a good soul, if you will. And I get that impression with Sylvania. But she doesn't speak English, and I don't speak Portuguese. But anyway, we communicate almost daily, and we talk through Skype translation. But anyway, who knows where that whole thing is gonna go. But the other thing that popped into my mind, and I've been thinking about this a lot, is that this home that I'm standing in, I absolutely have no attachment to it. I have no attachment. I have no attachment to Florida. I have no attachment to Fort Myers. I have no attachment to this community, no attachment to this house. And it's not, many times people will say it's a golden cage. Maybe you've heard that expression before. It's a golden cage. And it's not a golden, well, maybe it is a golden cage, but the door is wide open, and I can come and go from this golden cage as I wish. But it is it's more, to me, it's almost more like a ball and chain. It's something that I have to deal with. It's something that, if I want to travel and what have you, I'm still incurring property taxes on it. I'm still incurring homeowners dues on it, and what have you. Homeowner dues are $500 a month, and which is rather pricey here. But nonetheless, the just the consideration that of this house, it just makes me want to, if somebody would make me an offer on this house today, I would sell it. I would sell it yesterday. But where would I go? Well, Skip Smith has an extra room, but I don't think I could last longer than 3 days living with Skip Smith. I'm just teasing. But Skip Smith's got a room for me, and Oz got a room for me down under, and Sylvania over in Portugal, she's got a room for me. But anyway, we will see, as the saying goes. But reflecting back on the year, going back to the reflection of the year, what a year it was. Going through the receipts, it's just fascinating. It's so fascinating to go through those receipts. Yesterday, I was looking at a line item in my credit card statement of having lunch at a Mexican restaurant in the Villages. And I looked at it and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was with Sue. I was with Skip Smith's wife, Sue, and took her to lunch that day. And I think she had a salad, if I'm not mistaken. But it's interesting how you can go back and relive the year through your records, through your transaction history. Hmm. And the year, what a year it was. What a year it was. I mean, I relived the whole year yesterday in a matter of a couple hours from spending time. I spent time at Skip Smith's house while him and his wife went up to Indiana. I was watching that dog and spent a couple weeks there. And Yanae and I went up and spent some time up in the Panhandle during the month of I think it was January or February, and then there was the trip, the trip to end all trips. You think about this past year. You think about the traveling that I did. I got in a car with Yanae and proceeded to drive some 15 or 20,000 miles across the better part of 30 states and 15 national parks, and with a camper, and then only to return and to be home for a month before going on a trip that took me to Feliz Ano Nuevo. Oh, okay. Happy New Year. I think that means Happy New Year. But only to go on a trip that took me to places like Portugal and Hungary and Croatia and Bosnia and Iceland and what else am I missing? Slovenia and what have you. I mean, what a year. What an incredible year. 6 or 7 months of the year spent just with some absolutely incredible experiences, sharing it with some absolutely incredible people. And as I look at this year, who's to say I won't be standing here next year at this time, reflecting back on 2019 and talking about a trip down under. Talking about a trip down under and meeting to the wonderful land of Oz and meeting Oz and all of his loved ones and the other people down in Australia that follow me and making new friends and going to Tasmania and Happy New Year, Jess. Going to places like Tasmania, New Zealand, and then I'm resolved to take my camper and do another road trip with the camper. And 20 minutes to 2019. You got somebody that you're going to kiss at midnight, Jess? But but anyway, I think about taking the camper this year, and well, there you go. Have a great 2019. There's Oz. There's the wonderful Oz. But anyway, the idea of taking the camper and going up into like the Pacific Northwest, up into the Oregon area, like Crater Lake, and back to Idaho and Sun Valley and Montana, the road to the sun, and Puget Sound in Washington, and up into Canada, like Banff and Jasper, and Whistler and all those places. Oz and Jess, the two of you should get together and have a coffee. You know, you should start the Tom Hall fan club chapter. You should start the Melbourne chapter of the Tom Hall fan club. You know, and when I come to the airport, when I step off the plane in Melbourne, you guys will all be there at the airport with your big signs and balloons and all that kind of stuff. You know, welcome to Melbourne. But wouldn't that be a sight to see? But anyway, the oh God. All right. So, you know, before I forget, I got to talk about where are you now in Budapest? I'm not in Budapest. I'm in Florida. I'm in Florida. I'm not in Budapest. Hmm. I got to share something about Oz because not Oz, rather Skip. Got to share something about Skip. You know, yesterday the whole discussion with Skip was about Skip charging for his videos. And I thought I would help the old guy out and explain to you something as to how this works because now I understand what the hell Skip Smith is doing. When I upload a video or anybody uploads a video on YouTube, you've got a few options, four options basically. You can upload a video and make it public, such as this. This is a public video. When I upload and I start doing this live broadcast, anyone in the world that might happen across my channel can watch this video. It's a public video. The other thing is that I can upload a video and make the video unlisted. It's unlisted. So if I upload that video and make it unlisted, nobody will see it. Nobody will see it unless they get a link to that video. So for example, if I upload a video and it's unlisted and I email that video over to Oz, and Oz goes on his Facebook page and says, hey everybody, check out this wonderful guy named Tom Hall. And it goes all across Facebook. Anybody that has that link has the ability to watch that video. If somebody takes that video and puts it on a billboard along the side of the highway, or the address, hi Cheryl. If somebody takes that video URL and puts it on a billboard, and people driving down the road that are texting and driving when they shouldn't be, if they type that address into their phone, they're going to see that YouTube video. The other option that you can do with a YouTube video is you can upload a YouTube video and you can make it private. You can make the video private. So when you make a video private, only people that have a Google account that you share that link with can watch the video. And a private video, I think, can only be shared with up to 25 people. And they have to have a Google account. So if I sent Oz a link to a private video and he shared it with somebody else, they wouldn't be able to watch it because they're not on the private list, so to speak. You know, it's kind of like the guy standing at the door at the nightclub, you know, saying invitation only. So that's a private video. The other thing you can do is upload a video and schedule it. So I could upload a video such as I did with the Christmas markets. I could shoot a video today and schedule it to be uploaded become live 5 years from now, or available 5 years from now, which is how YouTube works. So when Skip Smith was talking about this whole Partneon thing, whatever, I had no clue that he was talking about an actual website. There's a website, and you know, it just hats off to these people that think of these type of things. There's a website, I think it's called Partneon or something like that. I don't know what the hell it's called. It's a takeoff on the word, or Patreon, P-A-T, like you're going to patronize me, P-A-T-R-O-N, Patron. So Patreon is a website. I think you can go to it. I think you can go to patreon.com, Patreon.com, patreon.com. So Skip Smith is not changing anything really about what he's doing. He's still doing his videos. He's still doing his videos, but in addition to doing his videos, he's going to make some special videos, I guess, that are only available to people that subscribe to this Patreon service. So it's a, I mean, hats off to Skip Smith. He's quite the entrepreneur, whereas I'm the entrepreneur. Skip Smith is the entrepreneur. And, and I think Skip Smith is, you laugh about that whole Patreon thing or whatever the hell you call it, but he only allocated so many spaces. He said he's got, 20 spaces at $5 a month, 10 spaces at $10 a month, and five spaces at $15 a month or something like that. And bless Skip's heart, he filled it up. He told me that he's going to make something like, he told me that he's going to make something like $500 a month. He's going to make $500 a month off of this Patreon thing. So, people are still able to watch his videos. Nothing changes about that. Nothing at all changes. People can still watch his videos just like they do now. And then there will be some of those people that are just Skip Smith diehards, that Skip Smith diehards that want to pay the old guy a monthly subscription. So you know what? I can't. Being an entrepreneur myself, I can't find fault with Skip Smith for that. So bless his heart, Skip Smith. He is, when I first met Skip years back, albeit online, I think he was watching me with my dad, or maybe he did a search on Kiss Kiss Time. There you go. Oz, you should go live sometime. You should go live, Oz, and do a video. But Skip Smith, he wasn't doing videos when I first reached out, when I first connected with him. To the best of my knowledge, he wasn't doing videos. And, whereas I'd like to think that I inspired Skip Smith, to do the videos, I was probably part of an overall inspiration. Skip Smith was probably watching YouTube videos, and he probably sat there one day thinking, well, hey, maybe I can do this. And look at him now. Look at Skip Smith now. He is Skip Smith now is I don't know, he's got 2,600 subscribers, but he's going to the bank. Skip Smith is going to the bank. He probably brings in more money on YouTube than I do. He brings in he must be bringing in about probably close to $1,000 a month. Believe it or not, through different endorsements and what have you. So he's probably bringing in about $1,000 a month. And then people go and take the guy to dinner 2 or 3 times a week. 2 or 3 times a week. Skip Smith will do a meet and greet, where somebody shows up in the villages and takes him and his wife out to lunch or out to dinner. And then there's the stuff that he gets in the mail. He gets golf balls in the mail. He gets all types of crap in the mail. So don't be fooled. Skip Smith, he may look like a grouchy old grumpy man, but he's really a shrewd businessman that all of us aspiring YouTube stars or wannabe stars can look up to and want to emulate. I've thought about, I can't say that I didn't think about trying to further monetize my own videos, and I just thought, what would I do with a Patreon channel? And there is the thought when I do these videos, and anybody does these videos, you're seeing the person that they want you to see. You're seeing the person that I want you to see, and there are those probably you know, that's there are probably those in my life that would say, oh, you know, you just don't, you don't know Tom like, you don't know Tom like I know Tom, you know. But anyway, for the most part, what you see is what you get with me. My videos are probably as candid as I can be, but there are things that I would like to there are things that I would like to share. There are things that I would like to discuss, but I don't, in great part because of you know, their private nature, or respect of other people's privacy and what have you, respect of other people's feelings and all. But anyway, the so I've thought about that, and you know, I even thought, like I was telling somebody yesterday, making my morning thoughts part of a part Patreon Patreon channel, my morning thoughts, you know, where I had more control over who was watching my morning thoughts. If I had more control over who I knew was watching my morning thoughts, then I could be a little bit more open. I could be a little bit more open with my inner self, so to speak. But anyway, so Jess, do I have any resolutions? I don't, nor should you. You shouldn't have New Year's resolutions, and I'll tell you why. I was listening to a show some time back about, it was a self-improvement show, and they were talking about the fact that setting goals is not a it's not a good thing to do. You don't set goals. You don't say, okay, in 2019 I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to go to the gym every day, I'm going to do this. You don't set goals, because when you set goals, the tendency is that people will reach a goal, and then they kind of lapse back into their into their routine, so to speak. So the whole concept of I don't set goals, but I do mark accomplishments. I don't know if that's one and the same or not. You know, I do recognize, you know, accomplishments, things that there's things that I might want to accomplish in my life, but I don't set goals as far as okay, I'm gonna start walking 5 miles a day, or you know, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. So no, I don't. I don't have any New Year's resolutions, but I do have ideas of changing my lifestyle in certain aspects and what have you. So it's not as much of changing or setting a goal as it is you know, modification of one's lifestyle. So anyway, that's about that's about all I have on my mind today. And you know, I got to tell you, for those of you out there that come to appreciate watching these videos and what have you, it's you know, you're on the receiving end of these videos, whereas I'm on the giving end, and it's not always easy to motivate oneself to wake up and do a video such as I'm doing here, or I've been doing every morning. It's not always easy to motivate oneself. And when I'm out traveling the world, like I've said many times, doing the videos helps take the edge off of loneliness, and and they serve a purpose. When I'm back home, oftentimes doing the videos often becomes a somewhat of a distraction of my attention span or my focus. And whereas my focus needs to be on work, whereas my focus needs to be on work, you know, the videos can take away from that. So, with that being said, I can't. I don't know that I may take a break from doing the videos, and so if you don't see me for a little while, know that it's for no other reason than it's no for no other reason than I'm just taking a break, and I'm sure you can understand that. But anyway, business right now is good. Business right now, speaking of taking a break and putting my priorities where they need to be, Um, business is business is incredible, to say the very least, and I'm looking forward to some exciting developments here in the coming year. So we will we will see, as the saying goes. But anyway, everybody have a happy New Year. I will let Oz and the rest of you guys down under go, and wish you a happiest of New Years. Okay, so take care, and all the best for the coming 2019 year. All right, bye bye.